Many stories center around characters going insane. Whether that character fully descends into madness or climbs back out of the darkness, the fear of becoming lost in one's own mind is something many readers can relate to. This is why I recommend writers read Fra Keeler by Azareen van der Vliet Oloomi. In this novel, she uses stream of consciousness to show her characters fall into insanity while unromanticizing this common literary trope. By studying Fra Keeler, you can learn how to use stream of consciousness, have mentally unstable characters, and twist the tropes of your genre. This is Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping writers like you transform your writing so it lingers with readers in the way that Fra Keeler does, because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. I'd like to begin with stream of consciousness. There are two definitions of stream of consciousness. In literature, it is a technique that presents the thoughts and feelings of a character as they occur. In psychology, it is the conscious experience of an individual, regarded as a continuous, flowing series of images and ideas running through the mind. In writing, at its core, stream of consciousness is attempting to mimic the conscious experience of a person. When you use this technique, you show all of your characters' thoughts, even the random ones, and their feelings. Fra Keeler is immersed in the narrator's consciousness right from the beginning. Here's an example. Things are illuminated retrospectively, I keep saying to myself, and it is these unfriendly events that will tell me the most about Fra Keeler's death, only they are still forming, they are still taking shape. Here the narrator is thinking about death, but jumping from one association to another, in the way a person might jump from idea to idea when thinking. There's a breathlessness to this passage. The reader can sense the speed of the character's thoughts and is propelled forward. Oloomi uses stream of consciousness to pull readers into the mind of her narrator so they can experience what it's like to go mad. Readers are steeped in her narrator's thoughts so they know everything the narrator knows. They experience everything he experiences. They experience each moment of confusion, paranoia, and relief. They witness the twists and evolution of the character's thoughts. If your story requires you to show your character's thought process or an interior monologue, consider using stream of consciousness. You don't have to use it for the whole story like Fra Keeler does. It's a technique you can use in moments that call for it. You can also try stream of consciousness to get to know your characters better. It's an excellent writing exercise. Describe your character's thought process when they're thinking about a key event, moment, or object in your story. Next, I'd like to talk about signs of madness. When Oloomi spoke to my MFA class, she told us that her goal for Fra Keeler and her stream of consciousness writing was to show the true violence of madness, instead of the glamorized version of psychosis found in a lot of stories with characters who go insane. Her narrator and her readers experience a true psychotic break. Her narrator loses touch with reality and has trouble distinguishing what is real from what is not. This break occurs over time, and Oloomi weaves the true symptoms of a psychotic break throughout the novel. The 4 advanced symptoms of a psychotic break are suspiciousness, magical thinking or odd beliefs, unusual perceptual experiences, and tangential or circumstantial speech. Here's a passage from Fra Keeler that shows all 4 of these. And it wasn't only him who could see me, I thought, because with my mind's eye I could see him, sitting on a solitary chair holding the receiver with his fat hand. Hello, I said and thought, his hand is like a boiled lobster. Are you calling about the wars, I thought to ask, but there was no one on the other end, not a word out of his mouth. Cat got your tongue, I said to him, Mr. Mailman. At this point in the story, the narrator believes the mailman is out to get him. When the phone rings, he thinks it's the mailman calling, not Ancestry.com. This is both an example of suspiciousness and unusual perception. When the narrator believes the mailman can see him and he can see the mailman, he is experiencing magical thinking. And when the narrator believes, "Are you calling about the wars?" is an appropriate question for the situation, he is experiencing tangential speech. By weaving these 4 symptoms together in such a short space, Oloomi demonstrates what it's like to be in the throes of a true psychotic break. It's not a glamorous way to hyper-focus or escape the mundane. It is intense paranoia, fear, and confusion. Oloomi also uses the minor signs of a psychotic break throughout Fra Keeler. In particular, she uses depression, anxiety, isolation, and sleep disturbance. Each thought from the narrator shows him experiencing some symptom of a psychotic break. He is truly losing it throughout Fra Keeler. Oloomi uses these symptoms to drive her story instead of trying to fit a psychotic break and its symptoms into her idea of madness. She is demonstrating true madness, not a fictitious version of it. This makes the madness feel more real to the reader. If you have a character with an illness, whether mental or physical, make sure you understand its symptoms and processes at this level. If you don't allow that illness's true symptoms and manifestations to influence your story and your character, then you're not showing the true illness. You're not making it real for your readers. Next, I'd like to share why an editor recommends writers read Fra Keeler. In the last couple of videos, I talked about MFA programs in creative writing. Fra Keeler is one of the few books from my first semester in my MFA program that I enjoy. And it's an excellent example of the type of literature you will be studying and expected to write there. So if you're thinking about earning an MFA, I highly recommend you read Fra Keeler to see if that's what you want to focus on for the next 2 to 3 years of your writing career. If not, an MFA might not be the right place for you. Even if you're not considering an MFA program, I recommend writers read Fra Keeler to see how deeply authors can dive into a character's mind. If you're writing a story centered on internal conflict or a character struggling with insanity, the techniques used in this book could be particularly useful to you. And even if you're not writing one of those characters now, you might in the future. What other techniques did you notice in Fra Keeler by Azareen van der Vliet Oloomi? Share them in the comments below. And for more videos on how you can make your characters' experiences real, subscribe to Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping writers like you transform your writing so it lingers with readers. Because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. To find out more about me, go to www.ignitedinkwriting.com. There you will also find a list of 13 writing books I recommend all authors explore. And now it's your turn to use stream of consciousness, mentally unstable characters, and twisted genre tropes to ignite your ink.